All right. I think everything's functioning. I say that, and then hopefully it is today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It's July 4th. So if you're in the United States of America, happy birthday, U.S., or happy Declaration of Independence. I guess that's more appropriate. 250, impressive year. I'm just gonna say this about it. I'm medium patriotic, so I'm not like super excited about it. I'm like, cool, you know, it's that one of the things like I like my country and all, but there are definitely places in the world that have much more age and stuff like that are much more impressive, and there's a lot of just I'm fairly neutral about it, I guess.
I think it's hard these days to be patriotic.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of things. Is like when you hear a lot of people that co-opt patriotism in a way that you're like, I don't like you doing that. It's the kind of like
I would say the last 26 years been pretty bad for America.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, the problem is it's hard to be patriotic when you are when your country is currently pitting itself against each other.
Yeah, I guess that's the big feeling too. It's like I want to be, but I got a lot of that. But still, nonetheless, I still like the country. I still hold out hope that we'll do some good here. We can
It'll get better eventually.
Yeah,
it will.
The waves.
It just might take a while.
Yeah. So
there's also a chance it can get much worse before it gets any better.
That's usually unfortunately how it goes.
Yeah. So 250. So if
make sure you spend time with your loved ones. Those are who matter more than the country.
Yeah. That's a big important one too. Yeah.
This is an excuse to do that.
Oh, I got plenty of excuses to hang out with plenty of people. I like it when you get the opportunities too. It's kind of one of those things. Is like Thursday. Speaking of our weeks a little bit here, I ended up helping out my cousin with a lot of stuff, and then we went out to get some food and stuff like that. And her entire family came along, and it's just one of those things. Is generally speaking. I like to meet with her like maybe once a month. She's like a couple years younger than me, but again, it's hard to nowadays, especially because my one of her younger sisters, she's watching after the kids for her, so it's like she's extra busy on top of her own kids, and it's like, oof. It's you find time. And I think that's important too. And I've been trying to do that more with people too. It's like find a little bit of time to do stuff. It's kind of like as much as it's not always easy to randomly hang out with Joe on a Saturday after discussing tabletop after I'm trying to get dinner late at night, but I try to.
Yeah, I mean, or hanging out when I give you like a week's notice. Hey, you could come play Darktide.
God, I've been trying. That's why I popped in where I'm like, look, I really want to play, but I should be finishing this work. So I'm at least hanging around. That's the best I could do, and I really hate that because I was like, oh man, I kind of really want to play, but it's also like I just this week has been such a weird week too because
I mean, with the temperature, I understand.
Yeah, I've
definitely weren't getting any work done the last couple of days.
Oh god, yeah. It's the thing is, I did a lot for setting up the game, and that took up the first part of the week, and then last couple of days, I just haven't done as much.
Yeah, you don't got air conditioning, so
no. The fortunate thing is, if I'm really, really feeling awful, my mom has said I can go hang out in her room, which is one of the few rooms in the house that's kind of sealed up in air conditioning. So, yay. I haven't spent a lot of time, but I've gone over and stood in her room for 5 minutes to cool down a couple of times. It's been needed. When I think it's also the thing too, when temperatures spike up, that's it's the difference between if it spikes up very rapidly or if you get used to it generally. And there's been a lot of rapid spikes in temperature. So.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think my week has been fine. I think there was an interesting little video that I put in my chat done by Tulare College about why 4-color magic doesn't exist as well, and it was a fascinating thing, and it made me really think about that, where it's the more difficult one to do other than 5-color. 5-color sounds more difficult, but it's sort of 4 colors the absence of something. And I'm like, that's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing. Because I was actually considering when I'm doing this slow, meticulous process of building old Magic decks, of doing some 4-color decks eventually, or maybe 5-color decks, and I'm like, I don't think I will. I think I'll stick to 1, 2, or 3-color decks, because like hearing that kind of reassures me that, like, that's weird. And I think that's another thing of, like, thinking about different directions and stuff like that when it comes to building stuff and what's useful and appropriate sometimes, which extends beyond Magic, of course, but Magic's a great place to start. Anyway, how did everybody else's weeks go? Anything interesting?
I don't think I did that. I played Dark Tide. I tried out the new class.
How was the new class?
The new class is it's interesting. It's kind of, I'm also getting back to playing Dark Tide, so I wasn't particularly good at it, but it was fun. I think I may have been in the Dark Tide lobby with Jesse Cox, which is fun. Because according to him, his Skitarii is named WD40K, and I did play a few rounds with a guy called that, so there's a chance.
He was saying he was playing a bunch of it. I saw the decanters today when I was out on my adventures. And listened to it.
I mean, it's more of an excuse to play Dark Tide, which is a very fun game.
Definitely, it's been a big one on my list. There's a couple other games that are like on my list to like get back to, but it's like haven't. But that's a definitely big one. How about you, Worm? Anything interesting this week?
I got Friday off, which was really nice. But I also know that my coworker's on vacation right now, so I'm gonna have a lot more work the next few weeks. He's gonna be on vacation for 2 weeks.
Brutal.
So, yep.
Yes.
She started last week technically, but it was a short week, so it wasn't too bad.
But if it's a week that's a little longer, then yeah, it's gonna hit you a little bit more. I get it. A bit of a goof. Anything else interesting that I can think about? I don't think anything stands out too big on my list of interesting things to discuss a little bit. So maybe we can just jump into some topics then and see how those rolls. No big topics today. It was one of those things is all the news, there was interesting stuff, but none of it felt like something that we'd like dive into for like 10, 15 minutes, So we'll just go for some small stuff to talk about. So I guess we'll start with the basics today. And start with, of course, there had been an expo in London. We had talked a little bit about it. I think that it had been announced earlier this year. Make sure I put this in the spot. But apparently it's been delayed till next year. It was supposed to be happening a little later on this year. And, that can be big on travel plans for various people. So it can be an issue. It was going to be taking place this summer, and it's taking place September next year. So that's a pretty big delay in time. Over a year, it looks like. So I can only hope that anybody that was like, spending money to fly to London or something like that can reschedule or cancel. I'm hoping it's close enough, but I don't know the exact dates that it was originally. Let me see if they're saying the original article. It was supposed to be in August, it looks like. So, about a month and a half off. They might be within cancellation range without any penalties, but I don't know. Yeah. The fact is that a lot of people, if you're planning that or like taking time off from work, well, it sucks. But things like this do happen, so hopefully, they can put something better together, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. There's an interesting little thing up on BackerKit that seemed fun to talk about, and it's a cozy fantasy mystery RPG. So it's basically the Merryshire Detective Club. So I guess it feels like, you're solving mysteries in like the Shire kind of thing, So it's very, simple, cozy, fantasy based, but detective stuff. So Seems
I
like an
don't
interesting
like
idea.
the horse guy art if you scroll down pretty
It
far.
is a monstrosity among
I don't
monstrosities.
like that.
I noticed and ignored that. I'm like, that's a thing that someone has chosen as art.
Yeah.
It has a style. This is a
Like,
style.
it upsets me greatly.
The
It's
art,
kind of like if you put like a full-sized horse head onto a human,
I think that's
rather
why I
than
like
like
it.
an anthro horse head.
That's why I dislike it. Yeah.
yeah. It's going to be using the gumshoe system. So I think we've talked a few times about that system. I don't think we've dived deep into how it's played, but it's one of the. Yeah. It looks very like a little Fey based or something like that too, or stuff because like boggarts, puka, dwarfs, halflings, kind of things like that. So, if you want to check it out. This is a new edition of it, but we can kind of talk about it for a minute here. But the Star Trek Adventures, the Captain's Log, their solo version of it, is getting a second edition, or I guess technically a new edition for 2026, updated to the new rules. So if you had tried out the original solo way to play Star Trek Adventures, this is the way of doing it now for second edition. So yeah. I think we talked about it when it first came out. It was an interesting idea. It is a lot of pages because I'm guessing you need that to run it. Basically, 326 pages.
So the way these work is they generally have like random charts to roll on to help you generate ideas.
Yeah.
And then other rules. How many pages did you say?
326.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yes. With 100
pages.
random tables, they said.
Okay,
I'll be
honestly,
honest.
you can get. To be fair, you can get 2 pages per table. So
Not gonna lie, I also feel like this might be just a good thing to have anyway, because random tables can be fun in anything. It's like it's a temptation, and I'm like, oh, this could be interesting just to use for non-solo stuff for some of the random tables and stuff. Maybe it interests me that way. So I'm not saying like it would be 100% useful for a game, but random tables could be fun too. So, though I don't use it very much, I always enjoyed from the first edition Pathfinder in their game master guide. They had the like a set of 5 tables that you roll to generate a random tavern, and they were very silly and very wonderful. Same kind of idea. So again, like I don't know if the mileage for multiplayer kind of things or for more traditional games, but certainly speaking, I'm guessing it's a lot of stuff to do that type of game. Chaosium is bringing us a new game that they're going to be putting out on backer kit in 37 days. So it's still a little ways off, called Time Without Tide. So mirth and misery in the world of fog. So Chaosium, very traditional for their very much so Lovecraftian, eldritch kind of stuff. And this is one that's basically a post-apocalyptic kind of Victorian age with this weird fog that's engulfed everything and brought out horrors and marvels and kind of things like that. So kind of an interesting idea, like weird fog and engulfs everything, and kind of like a little bit of that mystery of stuff that they're kind of used to, but a different kind of tone, I think. So, you probably still have a little bit of that like weird, unknown, eldritchly bizarre stuff, but it's not like as in front as most of their traditional games, aka, Call of Cthulhu over there. And it's a little bit more post-apocalyptic. So it's kind of an interesting idea. So yeah, it looks like.
no, I like the idea. Yeah, no, Chaosium's good. They have a. It's kind of funny because like their D100 systems tend to be like very gritty feeling. So I'm curious if they're going to continue with their D100 system.
Yeah.
I assume so. But
They do have like a quick start where I'm going to tell you for this one, a quick start for something like this is usually good. Like it's a preview of the system. I'm probably not using that for anything other than, do I want to back this one here? And I think that's a good use of that very simple, basic kind of thing. So I think you can kind of look into that there too. But again, period kind of apocalyptic things, especially like a kind of steampunk Victorian period, seems kind of interesting. So maybe we'll talk about it in a month and a half's time. Battletech is getting a new core RPG rulebook. So I'm going to say this sounds like a new edition. They're not calling it a new edition per se. They're saying it's just an updated rules from the classic TTRPG. Coming out in September. It's basically
That's good.
Yeah, it's up good. I think we've talked a little bit about like the kind of miniature side of the game, but I think I've mentioned a lot that my first experience with this world was technically the RPG, because it can kind of hybridize with the miniatures game, but plenty of people just play the miniature side of things with your cool robots and stuff like that. I'm kind of happy to see that's getting out.
I'm very happy Battletech as a franchise is getting spun up again.
Mm-hmm. It's a fascinating world, is the thing I can kind of say about it. Yes, it's
less stupid than Shadowrun's world.
Shadowrun
has a lot of really stupid stuff in it.
Yeah, Shadowrun is like, it's taken a long time to like, it's they had this idea, and it's sort of like in first edition they didn't really do a lot with that idea, and then when we get to like second, third edition, they're kind of bringing in a lot of like stupid ideas and stuff like that. And I feel like by fourth, fifth, and sixth, they're kind of like refine and like put things in a good direction. So it's like, I like a lot of concepts in the Shadowrun world, but there's a lot of like really just stupid things that exist there too sometimes. And I feel like it also is like, it's a little bit of like, it wants to be that dystopian, but it doesn't want to go as far as something like, because I feel like sometimes Cyberpunk's a lot more dystopian in a lot of ways. Is they want to be a little bit like this dystopian of Cyberpunk, but they also want to have a little bit of whimsy. And I think that's the problem that sometimes is when you're
Shadowrun
in the middle there.
Suffers at its core from, unfortunately, something you can never escape from, which is the fact that the Awakening only happened 50 years ago, and supposedly billions died, yet the world is largely fine. So at its core, you can't really fix that without going further ahead into the future.
Yeah, it's just...
So the further away you get from the Awakening, the better your setting is.
Yeah, that's why I feel like, when we're in, the current 6th edition where you're like 80 years out, it's a little bit better, And it's this weird thing of like, it's kind of hard to tell. Because like, yeah, some places went really fine with everything that happens, but others, like, it is terrible. But the problem is like a lot of these places are like not talked about as deeply. Like some of the places that like things didn't go well, I'm not gonna lie, we don't have anything on Australia. There's a giant magical storm permanently over Australia. What the fuck is happening there? We having an adventure information about that would be great, because it's a place that nothing good is happening there. It is stuff where it might have some bastions of civilization still, but there's like stuff going on there that's intrinsically really horrid that you can play off of, that works with all the shit that's happened, and yeah, it's like, it's sometimes I worry like the populations don't make sense, but again, like I don't know, like
I mean, Shadowrun, no one's good with numbers when making these things anyways, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The only other thing to say on this is it's good that it's in the Ill Clan era, because that is the clean slate that they're working from. You don't have the baggage of a lot of terrible writing.
Okay. Is that the farthest in the timeline era?
Ilkhan is the furthest in the timeline. It is 3151 onward.
Okay.
It still sucks, but
here's the thing. It's one of those things is
the worst.
it's having like heard about a lot of like the the various worlds and like the ones that are very dark and have a lot of grim problems into them. Like this is the world that I do like as much as I think the mechas are cool and the TTRPG probably focuses on those. It's also a setting I like a little bit better when it comes to like something like a TTRPG than let's say something like I'm not gonna lie, Warhammer 40k. 40k, like
Mhm.
you can play some games, but you have to kind of like focus on specific things. I feel like Battletech has a lot of that kind of grim dark, but you can place yourself a lot more places without problems. You know.
Yeah. The Ilkhan era is also the least dark. It's kind of post the Blakeish Jihad, where Comstar had their civil war and then nuked a lot of planets.
Yeah.
So
It's not a good world.
It's-
Things are bad, but they're not
things
the
are a
worst.
little better. The clanners control Terra, which is maybe good or bad. We don't really know yet.
Mhm.
They are kind of the rightful heirs to it.
So, yep, get a preview in Gen Con and see kind of what their plans are for the entire franchise then. They're going to talk about it a little bit more.
If you don't know anything about Battletech, best I can describe it is Game of Thrones in space with mechs.
Cool.
That's best description I can give you without a 2-hour-long discussion.
And very similar to, like, if you know anything about, like, again, I'll compare it to Warhammer a little bit too. Both are worlds where we got a lot of technology and then things fell off for various reasons. And so the technology is there sometimes, but it's more like we know how to maintain it rather than building a lot of new stuff sometimes, some of these things, or developing more stuff. So it's like some of these mechs, we can repair it, but we might not be able to replace parts from it.
Okay, I have a question for.
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I have a question for the local Warhammer nut. So, Momo, how did they like forget about technology? Like, what caused that?
In the long, long past, humanity, something horrible happened called the birth of Slaanesh, basically, which shoved the galaxy into the Age of Strife, which cut off all of humanity's colonies from each other, and everything regressed for about 10,000 years, till roughly the 32nd millennia, where Big E took power, unified Earth, and started reclaiming everything under the Imperium.
So we go like
it's a 10,000-year period of pain and suffering where no one could talk to each other.
I think there's also like a big AI uprising during that time.
There was a mega AI war.
So when that happened, of course, we turned against a lot of the AI we had, and that's also setting us back, you know, things like that.
The three punches of there was a mega AI war which wiped out a large portion of the sentient beings in the galaxy. The warp became horrifically unstable and cut everything off, and now that the warp has cut everything off, psychers have awakened, and your good friend John has sneezed and Satan has crawled out of his chest cavity.
Yeah. So it's, you know, and go for thousands of years of that kind of thing. And there are, again, it's that thing of like, there are technologies that we still that they still know how to make, but there's a lot of stuff that's like been forgotten, and I think it's the same kind of thing. It's an interesting concept of like
I learned recently that the Imperium can still make Terminator armor. I thought that was lost technology.
It was like there's one.
I guess there's like one Forge World that still pumps it out.
Yeah, I think I've heard about that too. That it was like there's one Forge World that's pretty good at still doing it. They have like the right material for it, but it also might be that thing that like that certain Forge World has this stuff in place, and maybe if any of that kind of breaks down, it might be hard to replace that kind of things there too. You know, also the material apparently for those is pretty difficult.
Also, to just squish this question, the reason they can't relearn this tech is learning new technology is heretical, and you will be executed for suggesting it.
Yeah,
I did understand that to a degree.
Battletech, on the other hand, they do want to relearn this technology, but it's sort of like
it's just really hard because they blew up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits is they don't know how to make warships anymore because all of the warship factories were destroyed during the Secession Wars, and they just haven't relearned how to build ships the same way to fit an FTL drive on them.
Yeah. It's just a matter of like, you know, they want to relearn it, but it's like they've regressed a bunch, and it's the problem
really
like
hard to relearn it.
It's that entire thing of like when you went back, you also like because it's the kind of thing of like advancing technology. Sometimes we forget some of those steps in between because we like automate those or make this very easy. So we're like, you know, if when we regress, we still have to learn the steps in the middle. It's like we know the top end. Like, oh, okay, like, you know, if I would give like, you know, it's like if everything related to smartphones went away and I gave someone a smartphone and said recreate it, well, just because you know how to like make all the parts and you don't know how to necessarily work it together or all this kind of
so
stuff.
here I have a good example of this. Microprocessors. Those like little chips that are always made in Taiwan, and they're kind of a big contentious thing.
Yeah.
Taiwan is if Taiwan was to be taken over by China and China said no, we are not allowing these things to be exported anymore or whatever, or I've heard America also will blow up all of the information so China can't get a hold of it, stuff like that. But here's the thing, like the best processors that like Nvidia can make, like they can design them, but as far as making them goes, are like four times as slow.
Yep.
So it's like it's crazy. So if that was to like disappear or something were to happen to it, like we wouldn't know how to actually make processors as we do currently.
Yeah.
We would have to spend a long time relearning it or finding a new way.
Yeah.
And again,
because it's more the manufacturing process that they do. It's like, yeah, we design it in America, but like that's what Nvidia does. They design processors, they don't make them.
And I don't think like, because this is like one step, it still would take time, but it wouldn't be like impossible. But I think it's for like, in Battletech, it's like they have all the various components of a FPL drive. Like we don't know how to make any of those kind of like from scratch. So it's all the parts we have to kind of relearn. So it's a super big challenge.
No, I know. I'm just saying like.
But it's comparable.
Also go in.
It's like
there's similar things in the nuclear industry for like nuclear power plants and nuclear missiles. Well, not nuclear missiles, but nuclear power plants mostly.
Relearning stuff.
For how to make certain safety equipment and stuff that we just didn't build nuclear power plants for like 40 years, and now that we're trying to build them again, it's like wait, how did we make this again?
Yeah, it's like there were people that kept working on the core aspects of what the power plant is, but like
and like maintaining it.
Yeah. But like switching it over to large scale industrial, we forgot the ways that we did that with the concepts of the engine.
Yeah, it's more like how to. It's not like the engine itself. It's more like certain components that like haven't been made in 40 years that we maintain currently, but we don't know how to make again. And it's not that we can't learn. Again, these are small, isolated incidents, isolated concepts, but it's like it's just kind of a fun thing that like the idea of lost technology is actually kind of a new concept. I mean, I get that there's like, people can go back to like, oh, we don't know how to make the Roman concrete, which is better than our current concrete. It's like, yeah, that's true. But we still like, that's like one minor thing.
Yeah.
Like major losses of information have not happened.
In recent.
But the theory is there. Like if a lot of those compounded with the loss of information and connection, it could really snowball.
Yeah, it can snowball, and that's where these interesting futures kind of come in there too. So it's fun that we're getting a new BattleTech kind of thing like there. It sounds like it's a very good era to explore, which I'm very happy about.
The newest one, so it's they're putting books out for it, so it's it's a fresh start, kind of.
Yeah. So. We'll probably know more after Gen Con, so expect that.
Yippee.
All right. So as I said, no big news today, so I just put nothing for the big news thing. But we can talk about some miniatures and stuff, and we can of course talk about we're getting a Core Cthulhu Tactics war game that Modiphius is going to be putting out the rulebook for. Now, I'm pretty sure Core Cthulhu I've heard about. I didn't think it was
a Roman one. Yeah. We talked about this when it was first announced.
Yeah. So it's coming into retail from Modiphius in later August. We'll have solo and cooperative rules. It's going to be an adventure war game. So it's the classic war game of not you versus another person. It's you and maybe another person versus a board. That's the adventure war games, I think, trend to be like that, kind of things like that.
Yep.
So, yeah. Roman kind of era, as we said there too. So coming out then. So if you're interested in checking it out,
neat.
Yeah. again, because
You
it's
should have
not.
said speaking of Roman concrete.
That would be a good thing. I honestly, until Momo mentioned it, I forgot that it was the Roman thing there because I saw like I read through it there and it didn't click in me that that was Roman era it's supposed to be for that, you know, the entire thing there with like the Germanic and stuff there, stuff I was saying. I'm like, oh yeah, that's technically they're talking about the Roman conquest.
I'm just letting you know you missed a great segue
Oh, I really missed
opportunity.
it. It's just again, hey, the My Little Pony TCG is getting a second booster set. If you're interested in that
Good
one,
for it.
good for it. You know, I do not know if this is a good or bad TCG.
It will sell very well because My Little Pony is incredibly popular in China.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Well, there's also a pretty good chunk of bronies in America.
Yeah, and they probably still like a lot of that stuff. I'm not gonna lie. If it plays well, I don't think the cards matter for me as much. Like it'd be interesting game. Sure, I'm not like huge on My Little Pony. It's fine. It was there and like okay, cool, great, whatever.
I've never interacted with this franchise in my life.
There was
Neither
something.
have I.
There was something else that like I remember. I watched. That was on the same channel. I think it was a Transformers show I watched a little bit of. That was on the same
Probably.
channel. Which was fine. I wanted to check it out because I was always a big old Transformers fan for like Beast Wars. I think that one was also fine. I can't remember. Not like you know really. Again, me remembering stuff from like how long ago is this? I don't know. Over a decade, at least now. Brain not work well. Anyway, so cool. Yeah, shake it up yours.
This is the second piece of My Little Pony news I've read this week, so it's just concerning me.
I don't think it's a big resurgence. Like this was like again like there wasn't there's a lot of little stories this week, so there was not a lot of like big things to talk about. Like we
The
can
other
talk.
one I read is the mobile gotcha game Arknights is having a My Little Pony crossover, and I was like, that feels like a tonal clash.
Yeah, that does.
Okay,
You know, I guess if you want to play a My Little Pony character in the universe where magic is caused by rock cancer, go for it.
okay. Yes. That's a thing. But we're getting a new festival in a box. It was unveiled at MagicCon Amsterdam this year. So there's the Magic Festival in a box kind of things, which is like got some of their mystery boosters, a drop set of some things, some promo cards and stuff like that. And this usually is a way to get the current set of mystery boosters, which are kind of fun. If you've ever checked out and learned about mystery boosters, they have like a lot of like sometimes they have like experimental cards in them or like unique sets things of cards. So mystery boosters are a fun kind of way to play and learn and get some cards in Magic that are probably most of them are not legal. But you know, if you want to play some casual stuff with friends. So the Festival of the Box are very interesting. We're getting it on pre-order in July 13th. It's basically the entire idea is you can get some of this stuff at conventions, but they're also offering it you can buy from home. And that's why these are a little good, because it
Limited
means
to 2 per customer.
I like.
Which is
okay,
also
I
very good.
find Bicycle Elemental is very funny.
That one is pretty good.
yeah. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that you find in
You know,
Mystery in the Box.
I saw Ataraxa. I was like, why does that say Aatrox? Did they add Halo to Magic? So I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm like, what does that say?
It's gotta look.
You know what? They could probably put Halo and Magic together at this point, and I probably wouldn't care.
Yeah, it's
I'd
like
make Master Chief Commander deck.
yeah, those interesting like the white cards like Bicycle Elemental are basically what you can get,
those
which
are
are
fun.
they're weird experimental cards, which I like these honestly a little bit better than I liked the unsets, because the unsets try to be like funny.
Your sets are just full of bits.
Yeah, the unsets were full of bits and sometimes had interesting ideas, but it was a lot of the bits.
And they
And
cursed us with amusements and stickers, so
yeah, they kind of
Yeah,
went
I mean, the whole point of the Bicycle Elementals is clearly just kind of a pun off the mechanic that they're testing.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
like, it's just they're testing a mechanic basically.
It's a fun look into the design process of Magic.
And that's why I do like these mystery boosters, and having Festival in a Box where you get some of these, cool, because it contains a box of mystery boosters.
Did you see the Mark Rosewater thing where people were like, "Hey, why does Wizards make so much Universes Beyond?" And his response was, "Well, if you don't want to stop buying it."
Yeah.
That is the big answer. Is that, like, unfortunately, as long
It
as
sells incredibly well.
as long as it sells well.
And that's kind of the problem, is that Magic has, I mean, the problem is there's kind of two camps. There's the players and the collectors. And I feel like just the collectors are what keep these weird things going.
Mhm.
But then the players also will buy them if there's like a good mechanic in it,
Like,
And so you get these like annoying kind of like things where it's like, well, the one group goes, I have to buy it because I need this card for my deck, and the other group goes, I have to buy it because I already have, the past 50 sets.
the unfortunate thing of the only bad Universes Beyond product was Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and the rest were like pretty good.
they're either
Yeah.
pretty good or okay enough, and I think that's the thing. It's like even I have complaints about things like Ninja Turtles. It's not a terrible set if you look at the mechanics and stuff like that. Flavor wise, I wasn't a fan of some of the stuff from that one there too, but mechanic wise, not terrible. And then the same thing for the Marvel thing now. They're exploring interesting spaces with it, which are fine. And again, like, it's I think that's the other thing too, is if the cards are fine and it's selling well, yeah. I don't want to say, I think it's just because Spider-Man was so bad, like, they kind of gave people a bad taste about it. But, like, again, I've never necessarily hated Universes Beyond. I just don't like some of the ones they use for it, because I'm like, don't do Ninja Turtles, do more things like Lord of the Rings.
My message to the Magic community is, y'all didn't complain until it was Spider-Man.
I mean, that's true, because I said, like, Spider-Man was a step too far. I was fine with half of the stuff that they did before, like some of the one-shot crossovers. I'm like, this is dumb, but whatever, it's one shot, but like the full sets are like a little too
I mean,
much.
the Spider-Man and Marvel is pretty egregious. I would also say Star Trek's a little too far as well.
Yeah, it's like things like Avatar, Final Fantasy.
Fantasy, I think, works better.
Again, I think you could even probably do like futuristic or modern fantasy.
I say that as there's a spaceship Magic set that was actually like really good.
Yeah, I think because they've seen that they can do things like sci fantasy, in Magic, and make it work. So that's kind of like, I think, why like Warhammer worked pretty well with the Commander decks that they did with them. It's one of those ones that, like, stuff like that is definitely on the edge, but I think it works very well. Technically, My Little Pony already came to Magic. It was in was it in a
Secret Lair thing?
Secret Lair? Yeah, it was a Secret Lair.
Look, I'm
next to SpongeBob.
Still angry that 40K was limited to Commander decks. You just make a Warhammer set, cowards.
Yeah, I will
Games
actually.
Workshop wouldn't say no.
I think that's one of those ones that's, because it is a sci-fi fantasy, and it would work pretty well. There's so much fantastical shit.
You can get 2 sets out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll print money because Warhammer fans have infinite money.
And then you could also do Warhammer Fantasy or Age of Sigmar or something like that.
Well, you couldn't do Fantasy because that's dead.
I guess Age of Sigmar.
You would have to do Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, have some Skaven. Everybody loves the Skaven. Or hates them, something like that.
I know a few people who don't like the Skaven because they're cowards.
But yeah, so but the Magic Festival in a Box will be available in July. I'll be curious if they will have a good supply.
Huh? That's a lot.
Yeah. Just be curious how many of them they will actually offer.
Hopefully
enough.
Came out. Yeah, hopefully enough. But I know it won't be because it never is.
They never do that. So, someone's doing a Kingdom Come Deliverance board game. What this will be like, I don't know.
I have to learn to read before I can play it.
Yes. So, if you don't know about Kingdom Come Deliverance, it is a medieval game that is very like.
It is a medieval immersive sim.
That's great. Yeah.
In the first game, you literally had to learn how to read before you could do basically anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that in the second game.
I do want to say, My Little Pony coming soon to Magic. They've already done it.
Yep.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. The board game.
I've definitely seen My Little Pony Magic cards.
Oh, this board game looks complicated.
Yeah, you're poor peasants looking to get away in the war-ravaged kingdom. Aid local nobles, steal needed resources, hone skills fighting and alchemy, build network of connections.
Yeah, it's basically the video game.
Deck building and skill tests. Oh,
$200. Good lord. Well, you get a lot of stuff with it. So
yeah. 184 tiles, 300 tokens, 500 cards. Yeah, it's a big game. I feel like this is like one of those ones where you're like, do you have an afternoon to play with your friends?
Yeah, this is not a casual game.
They do the age old, it'll take 90 minutes to play, and I'm like, that means it's probably going to take twice that amount of time, aka 3 hours minimum.
At least.
Yes.
Look, I'm pretty sure Access and Allies is 90 minutes on the box, and that game takes an entire day to play.
Access and Allies is definitely one of those ones that just takes a lot for me to even look at it. I think I've looked at it a few times and been like, you know what?
I've played it. It's a fun game. It just takes forever.
Yeah. What's the other one? Twilight Imperium? That's a big one too.
That one scares me.
Because it's like Axis and Allies meets diplomacy, I think is what someone described it to me as.
That one actually scares me.
Yeah. Because it's the next level above there. 90 minutes is chump change for that one.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. I definitely recommend the second Kingdom Come game.
Yeah.
Because it's a little more approachable than you need to spend like 5 hours at the start of the game learning basic human skills.
I will always remember, I just heard tales of like, because I've never watched it. There's someone that just spent like 3 hours on stream chatting while just picking herbs.
Yep.
And became super rich and also became like an expert at like herbalism or something like that, at the beginning of the game. And like that just helped the breeze the rest of the game over because they like, spend a bunch of time just getting a lot of money and like maxing out like a skill that could be helpful.
In the second game, if you do alchemy, you will make a ton of money.
Yeah. So I forgot that this existed. I think I remember hearing about it, but the Sniper Elite, the board game version of it, is getting a expansion. Operation Kraken. So Sniper Elite video game series, it's all about being a sniper and taking out various targets and stuff like that.
Very good video game series with a lot of games in it.
Yeah, a lot of games. So this one revolves around the plot of the Axis to launch an experiment super carrier into the Atlantic Ocean. So be infiltrating enemy ranks, taking out the carrier before it can menace the Allied forces. Some new maps.
Yeah, it's always something. These games are always. We need to send you in to stop some kind of super weapon.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. They're continuing the tradition. Super weapon. Let's take it
And then
down.
at some point you shoot Hitler in the balls. That happens a lot in that game.
It really does, doesn't it? That is indeed a thing that happens in that game a bunch. Yep. So, and our final little story here is, weirdly enough, Zombicide, the board game, is getting a Squid Game expansion. I don't know how the hell that's going to work. Yeah, how those are getting matched together. So
okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I know.
I assume Zombicide is a zombie board game, correct?
Yes.
I've never seen Squid Game, but I'm pretty sure there's not zombies in Squid Game.
Yeah.
I assume.
I think what
Are
they're
you
doing
playing
is
the suit guys and you're shooting contestants?
yeah. You assume the role of survivors that are stuck in a remote island teaming with cruel challenges, zombies, and masked guards that are enforcing the rules of the game as the world collapses around them. So I guess that what they're doing is here's like a
Oh,
version of like it's Squid Game, but now there's also a zombie
Okay,
apocalypse and people are still doing
okay.
the game.
They're doing it's Squid Games, but the zombie apocalypse happened in the middle.
Yeah,
Alright. Fair
interesting.
enough.
Interesting combination, and the people running the games are like, we're just gonna keep going with it, even though it's a
You
zombie
know-
apocalypse.
Zombicide could team up with Sniper Elite board game because there are Sniper Elite zombie games.
Yeah, they could. I don't think they're.
I think there's 5 Sniper Elite zombie games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no feelings on this as I've never seen Squid Game.
Yeah. It's one of these weird ones that I'm like, they've been doing a lot of weird things with Zombicide, and like, I guess it works, but like, I think it came down for originally one of those like board game survivors versus zombies board games, and it's just expanded into like strange directions.
Slap an IP on it, it'll sell better.
Yeah, like like this article links to an old one that I think I don't know if we talked about or we just skipped over it because like busy week. But there's like a pirate version of this. Like
I mean, I feel like that's better.
yeah, you know, it's like pirate era except zombies on an island that maybe cursed or something like that. It's a lot less apocalyptic and more like the cursed island and we have to fight the zombies of the cursed island or something like that. That feels
That's
better.
more fun, I feel like.
Yeah, this was weird. Interesting, but weird. It's
Certainly
direction.
a choice.
Yeah. They've made a choice. It's an interesting one. I don't know if it's a good choice.
Reminds me of all those
What's the
weird
choice?
things USAopoly does. Like
Look,
the spam board game.
I revisited it once, and I do sometimes stop by there still every like couple of weeks, and like I look, and there's something there that I'm like I just don't want to talk about that. There's a couple like there's like
the fucked up oh god, why have I blanked on his name? Labyrinth
oh,
guy.
God. Yeah,
Why
David
did I blank on his name? Yeah, like the fucking the really insensitive David Bowie Monopoly board they made.
yeah, that is their tradition. They are not sensitive to people at all. Ever.
That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm just to mention how dark it goes. I will mention the last 5 products that USAopoly went out just to go here. Monopoly Strawberry Shortcake, the Clue Breakfast Club, which you talked about, Clue Clueless, Clue Universal Monsters, and Jenga One Piece. They do things.
All right.
Occasionally, they also do their own board game or own kind of board games, which some of them are actually pretty interesting. But we talked about them occasionally. But they also love to do their licensed stuff that is just clues and monopolies. Lots of them. Want to talk about pacings in your game?
Yeah, sure.
So my idea with this is to split the. Oh, sorry, I hit the button twice. My idea was basically I had this idea of timing, and and I wanted to talk about like timing when it came to the game master, because I think timing for players is different than timing for a game master. I wanted to separate them out, so maybe on another week we'll talk about players and their own personal time management. But I want to talk about kind of like pacing a game for you as a DM or GM, storyteller, any kind of those terms, because there is like a pacing thing to it that like you want to do certain things to immerse your players in the world, to give them role-playing moments, but you don't want to like bog things down too. And that's a thing that you running the game have to manage that pacing. And so we can kind of talk about that there too, how to do that very well. Kind of like, I'll give hey, you know what? I was working on pacing this afternoon, this week on Wednesday. I allowed everybody to kind of do a little bit of stuff for the party you were in, but then we kind of like breezed over the second half of it a little bit too, because there wasn't really going to be a lot of new things. I was kind of like asking a few questions, but I was kind of keeping it a lot person light at that point in time, because we had our moments to go do some events and stuff like that. That was my attempt to like still have a little bit of, you're enjoying the festival, you're having times to kind of bond together a little bit too, but also not like bog us down deep in the weeds in a festival that, you know, it won't be after this session, you know. And you know, will some stuff from it matter? Maybe, maybe not. You know, I'm guessing probably like some of you could like, you know, hang out with some people down at the docks and like impress them because you did some tug of war, you know, things like that.
Joe's bruised ego might determine the tone of his character.
Yeah, Joe went through it that session. We'll talk about it more in depth, but definitely like
I think more than Joe went through it.
there was a lot of stuff that happened. Just there were some.
I had a good
The
time.
rolls were up and down. I think the lows were pretty low rolls.
Level 1 Pathfinder shenanigans.
Oh yeah, but I think that's the entire idea, is figuring out a pacing of when you want to basically do that. And honestly speaking, it can also be like cutting your players off too. Because if players get in depth of like a role-playing moment, you don't necessarily want to cut that off per se, but like they could get into the weeds very easily, and you want to also be able to like kind of manage that there. That's a difficult kind of thing, I think. I think out of all the kind of pacing issues, that's the most difficult, because I guess pacing can be divided into role-playing pacing, adventuring pacing, and combat pacing. Seems that be like right the three managements of pacing that you're doing as a GM? Or is there
Yeah,
another one you
probably.
think there is?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So well, we can start with role-playing pacing. What would you think is the best way to manage role-playing pacing? I think it's basically like seeing an opportunity to kind of like push things along, you know, maybe like
An event or an NPC interrupt, you don't tell your players shut up, things happening.
yeah, you know, say, you know, something starts happening in the background.
I would argue you should be very careful with this roleplay, because you might. I think it's the easiest place to like kill someone's like vibe. Like, you know, like someone's trying to do something, and if you just go, okay, we're moving on now, and like they didn't get a finish, that can kind of make them kind of.
Yeah, but when
annoyed.
the yapping has
check out.
gone on for like 40 minutes, I do feel you do need to step up as a GM and be like, hey, guys.
No. I'm not saying you don't do it. I'm saying you have to be careful.
Yeah. I agree that you have to. It is probably the most challenged, because you don't want to cut them off too soon for whatever they're talking about or doing, however the interaction's going. But you also don't want to, like, you know, give them 4 hours that they're just going to sit around. The joke of like you didn't get very far in the last session could be, yeah, because we chatted for like 4 hours and nothing happened. You know,
Unfortunately, it's very easy to get lost in roleplay.
Mm-hmm.
And there also are, unfortunately, a lot of people who do not consider that the DM needs to have fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying there's a tightrope to walk. I don't think it's that tight of a rope, but you know, it's just more like there's goods and bads of both time. If all you're ever doing is pushing the players along, they will probably not have as much fun.
Yeah. So it is very good also to, when pushing through role-playing moments, to do things like, as Momo said, have an NPC interrupt them or something, like show up or something, or maybe something happen in the background that they might want to check in about. That's kind of like, it's just a little bit of a cutoff that then it changes the tone a little bit too. So maybe they'll start talking about that and get interested in that and go and investigate that or something like that. Or maybe they'll switch things. So it's rather than you like cutting them off very tersely and directly, you're kind of like giving this thing that might be a cutoff, but it's like another interaction or something there too, which can kind of evolve it there, you know, a little bit too.
Your
those are good ways.
cutoff should continue into another event happening.
Yes.
And you know, but what it really comes down to is that there's something I think a lot of people forget, especially players, is that, you know, if they're having a conversation, that they have to communicate that in game to some degree, for the most part. You know, like I generally do, especially in combat, I generally have the rule of you guys had enough to plan ahead of time for certain situations. But if you say attack the wizard, he's because he's got the item or something, well, that might be in character. But if you're saying I'm pinned down, can you help me out here? Then it's like that has to be communicated in character somehow. So my point that I'm getting at though is if they're sitting around talking, yeah, it's really easy just to have someone be like, oh, I couldn't help it over here that, you were, and you could kind of push things along with an interruption in that way.
Yeah. Because players are, as you said, players are going to be doing something in game. They're going to be chatting in game or acting in game. So, it could be very easy for, someone nearby or something happening nearby to then become involved with it. And I think like, that's the thing is, role-playing pacing, I feel, is the one that you do want to keep an eye out for because you don't want them to go too far, make conversations cyclical, make conversations go in directions that are less about character building or the story and are like weird directions sometimes too. Things can happen, especially in conversations. Things happen in normal conversations. I've been in plenty of normal conversations where we meander through topics that were completely different and weird, and that could just happen naturally. And certainly if you're lost in the sauce of role-playing, you can do that too. Sometimes it's fun, but you also want to just taper that, and you can this, we are technically playing a game now. Let's move it back there too.
Sometimes it's good content for stream.
Yeah, doing stuff for stream is a different beast. But...
Yes, you have to read where that doing stuff for stream adds an extra level of just reading stuff in that one. I think is what it's kind of layer two, figuring out where you're going with that. So, I think in a way, pacing role-playing is both very challenging because you have to read the room, but also it's the one that you probably don't have to worry about the most. Because again, I feel like it's most of the time, it's probably not going to be a problem. It's just the rare times that you might have to worry about. That might come up. They might.
Yeah, I don't That's the thing. I think I'm actually curious on your thoughts. Do you think the pacing had a problem in your last session, or do you think it was decent?
I think it was okay. I think I enjoyed that we did very good on getting you all in the same room. I feel like everything evolved all right. I don't think it was perfect, but I don't think it was bad in any obvious way, because everybody went to the same bar. You all were, it's okay, you all ended up at the same table, kind of were hanging out together. You went to the thing. You all went to some games.
We read the script. We read the script you sent us, Tantus.
Yeah. You picked up what I was dropping on you. I dropped you the script, and you accept that. I could have done something if you didn't. I had plans if you did go to separate places. That was fine too. But you made it easy for me, and that was fine.
You put a lot of emphasis on, hey, this place is having an all-you-can-eat. Wink, wink.
Well, I was the one who brought that up.
I was saying that for different. As soon as you gave me the all-you-eat, I'm like, thank you, Worm. You made it so much easier to go that route.
Go that place.
I had actually planned also for the possibility of you all kind of running into each other at the festival a little bit more. So that I had plans for just in case. But you made it. You gave me something to make it a lot easier to throw you all at the same place.
I literally read the last 2 hours of my day. I was just reading up on kind of the town, and I found that out. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. And so it definitely ended up a very good that way. And I think then I hope you got enough of the games, because I wanted to give you an enhance of what the festival was without hitting you over the head or having it drag on too much. So that's why I was everybody got to play little games or hang around the first part. Then it was lunch. And then I was is there anything really you want to do for the afternoon other than handing in your tokens? And I'm sort of you probably just spend a little bit more time doing it. And then we get to the, evening where things happen, So that was kind of my idea of the pacing on that one there too. So, I'm not gonna lie, this was a lot of me in this part at very least, because like they do give you some suggestions for this, but this is like the part where they're like, there's a festival happening, enjoy. And I'm like, this is a great point to establish the characters. I'm gonna take the time to have you guys do some things, establish the types of games and stuff and like how they work and kind of like some of the stuff is provided, but like I feel like this is the area I do like a lot, where I can kind of work on a framework and like, put things together and fill in the blanks a lot. This was I feel like it was fun for me, but it also then helped with like, figuring out the pacings of the entire event too. I hope.
Yeah.
That was kind of my read on it. Because that I feel like kind of leads into the second kind of pacing, which is that adventuring pacing, where it's like, yes, adventuring pacing can be anything from exploring town, checking out like traveling across a terrain. This is the kind of thing where like you have to understand the type of game you're playing. Like, if you're playing an exploration game, you want to focus more on that. If you're playing a game where your characters are just going somewhere to take care of a problem, you're probably not going to focus on the overland travel. Same within a city. Like, if it's something that the city matters a lot more, you might want to focus on, things going on there. We've talked about this before, but it's the same kind of pacing for that one. It's like, understanding the game, understanding how you're going to pace adventures. Basically around stuff.
Yeah.
Is there something other
As
than
far as-
the exploration kind of side or adventurous kind of side do you think that would be for pacing? Like another thing of it.
My thought on this is it really depends on the type of game you're running. If your game is heavy on exploration, then the adventure pacing is going to be very heavy.
Mhm.
And like then you've also got the gritty side where it's all like, oh, are you running the kind of game where the players have to count rations and make sure all of that, because then you're probably gonna have a lot more events and a lot more of those, and that's where the GM really has to like control to figure out, okay, like how much time do I want to take on this, how far do I want to go with it, and then you also have to keep track of your players and make sure they're on top of things, like say, okay, now make sure to mark off a ration, so it's like that can take a lot of time, but also on the other hand, it could be, you arrive at the place, cool.
Yeah. Here's another aspect I think that's important about it. How many skill checks are you going to give, or challenges like skill checks, are you going to give your players?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can tell you how I do this in games that have like a lot of travel and stuff. Because travel is the big pace killer in D&D a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I will typically have one group skill check per every 3 days spent on the road.
Okay.
Especially if it's something like Eberron, where it takes weeks to go between cities.
That makes sense.
That way your players are actually doing something other than, well, you're in a cart for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you want to still have some things happen regardless, whether it's opportunities for role-playing moments or it's maybe some skill checks or something too, you unless it is like completely like, there are times where you probably want to like definitely not do a lot, but I think it's sort of like giving a few opportunities during that travel for things like
at early level you do want to do travel events. When you're at later level, it doesn't really matter anymore because
I think it's another important level
if
too.
a bandit attacks a level 15 party, that bandit is dead immediately, so you don't need to bother.
So I think looking at level 2 is an important way to also kind of consider that also, because depending on the level, depends on the need sometime for that level of challenge to exist at all.
Yeah, I mean, also then there's the point where it's like your players have the teleport spell if they're in D&D, and then travel means nothing. But there still is a lot. Like you can do a lot with like random encounters and stuff. Like I don't think random encounters are bad. It kind of, again, if you're getting a little bit dirtier with it, it kind of forces players to plan around things a little bit more.
I think random encounters are only bad when in adventure pass it's used to pad XP. Which Pathfinder loves doing.
They do. That's why milestone experience is probably better.
Yes.
I'm so glad that they provide information on milestone experience, because I'm just like, look, I'm just confused now. I'm sorry. You give me this. I just know when to generally level up people. Thank you, game. because I don't want to
mean, ultimately, yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about experience. If you only get experience by fighting things, players are going to want to fight things.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing about incentives. We should do a one on incentives.
Incentives might be a good thing to do.
Incentivizing your players.
Yeah.
But yeah, it adventuring pace, and then you also got like, you know, in a dungeon exploring. You know, I think sometimes when your players are stuck at a door for 20 minutes because they're not sure it's a mimic, you kind of just have to go, look, guys, just open the door. Nothing
God
bad's
damn
gonna
it.
happen.
Oh
No,
my god.
I genuinely do feel like if I'm running a dungeon and you're focused on a room for 20 minutes, I am gonna be like, hey guys, move it along.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, yeah, that's the point, is what I'm saying. It's like,
Move your asses. There's nothing in this room.
Look, I'm not gonna
look,
lie.
I described the crack in the wall, but that doesn't make it important.
I've never removed it, but I'm looking at my Nightbot commands, and back from the original Madness of the Land, I have command door. Nusa. It's an Usach, which was one of the characters, because they always had the one character with the high perception checking the goddamn door constantly. Yep, there you go. Usach, the dwarven cleric, constantly was checking and searching doors. And so spending extra time doing it every goddamn time.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in a Pathfinder adventure where it's like, all right, we've hit a locked door. It's time to spend 20 real world minutes dealing with this.
My favorite is when players spend forever examining a door and it's just not even locked.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh
yeah.
It got so bad in Hell's Rebels where anytime we have someone who has disabled device, his name's Gio, he can't roll for shit. It got to the point where we just bought an adamantine weapon to break every door down.
Yeah.
And, honestly, and this is actually why mimics are so kind of bad to use, is because it encourages that kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you really need to use mimics carefully.
Yes, I'll agree on that one.
Yeah,
actually,
but
that's another
anyway,
topic.
yeah,
using surprise monsters properly.
I actually have some thoughts on this, but
Well, the good news about surprise monsters in the new version of 5e, surprise rounds are no longer bullshit. So,
yeah,
are they not?
Yeah, all a surprise round in the new version of 5e does is it gives you disadvantage on your initiative, rather than you lose your turn.
Okay.
Which makes it a little more fair to use the.
Yeah. Cool.
I think
one-sided.
I think it's kind of a similar kind of stuff with Pathfinder 2e. Surprise is not nearly as deadly. You rarely lose your actual round and stuff like that, or have any kind of problems like that. It's like I think like things might have combat advantage against you or something like that at most, which is just a little like bonus to hit like +1 or +2. So it's not as terrible in the past at very least, because like planning for a surprise still can do that. And I think also I remember reading under supplies, they're like, hey, look, you know, if your players make a really good plan, you just have to kill something if you really want to, you know? It's like you don't have to like force things there. You can just be like, hey, yeah, you guys killed it. You planned a good surprise enough. We don't have to worry about it. So if you really want to take like, you know, like 50 minutes, come up with this like perfect surprise plan to like eliminate your enemies. Cool, I'll reward you. You get through that, you know. So yeah, so there is like in dungeons, there's a lot of pacings too, because that comes into like the skills, the exploration, and like also like spending time on certain things. Like you really, I think it's the same thing we talk about descriptions and stuff. You have to make sure not to like get ideas in your players' heads that they're going to want to like check out or get obsessed with that aren't important, you know, sometimes.
And honestly, if you ever want something to move along a little faster, you almost need to structure it. I would argue, you know, like dungeon turns, where it's like you can move a certain amount, you can do a certain number of things, and you have to like take turns doing it, you know. That's one way to also help with exploration.
There's a chat question, Tantus.
Mm.
How did you feel about the player's planning time in the Frosty job? I can tell you how I felt. I thought it was fine because 90% of Shadowrun is job planning.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is Shadowrun's all about the plan. It's a game
You want
where
to make a plan so good in Shadowrun you don't roll anything.
that's the point of the things in Shadowrun. And when you do roll stuff, it's easy rolls or something like that.
You want to weight everything into your favor, and you obviously you don't want to get shot at. You want to avoid combat at all costs.
Like the thing is, we have to think about how much the characters that got injured at the last session or the last sessions did from falling on a car. That was bullet damage. Bullets do damage like that. So think about how damaged they got up from getting hit once. That's the kind of thing that you get in when you get into a firefight. That's how deadly Shadowrun can turn quickly. You know,
and that game is really rough.
Yeah, so it's sort of like you want to be ready for combat, but you also want to be ready that you have the advantage in combat. It's kind of like what you did with the guy that you surprised at the brothel. You were ready for it. Granted, he had an opportunity. He just rolled shit, and that did not help him.
That happens.
So it was a good surprise. The enemy rolled shit, and boom, you got him. And that was
I think the
all
Shadow
that plan.
had pretty good pacing.
Yeah, I think that was one that I think there wasn't any like major slowdowns in the Shadowrun one. There was a few points in time where he kind of played it, but that one felt like it was paced well. Overall for everything. I think there was, again, I have some of my complaints about, to myself about some things that happened during that game, but it was more or less of like points where I should have probably deviated more from what was in the material.
Yeah, I think anything that was kind of mid in that game was the books writing and not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about it, where it's all like the parts where it's just like, oh, they planned this whole thing to keep Frosty out of the way. It's all like,
yeah, we gotta get the
literally
DMPC out of here.
Yeah, it's like literally those could have been done so much better.
Why have her in the adventure then?
Yep.
If she does nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I can understand her, like, wanting, like, just make it so her goal is to stay back. That's why she hired you, I can't show my face here for X, Y, Z, so you guys are the ones going to be doing everything.
Yeah.
Shadowrun unfortunately does that a lot in its adventures. So it wants you to interact with cool people.
It's a weird thing because
again, they could have both as being like, I'm going to be around if you, but, I can't show my face, like, so you guys are going to have to be doing everything, but I'll be here as in a backup,
It's the unfortunate. This is written in the 90s mostly.
Yeah, like this one is still a little newer, but it's like still like early 2000s, so... Well, actually, I have to check the date on that one, when that one came out. Because that's...
I want to say it was like 2006.
It's early 4th edition, which I do think is like the mid-2010s, I believe. So it's got age to it no matter what, unfortunately that shows a little bit in the adventures. I'm glad I'm not using older adventures because that'd be far worse. Sorry, this is gonna be over for a second. I'll put it down again in a second. This one came out 2009.
It's not. So that's a 20th edition rather than a 4th edition then.
It set us up for
20th edition was the revamp of 4th edition that made things a little bit better.
Yeah, so it was at that time at least. But again, like, it's one of those things is like, it's a stupid thing of like, I'm not gonna lie. Your team, I think we talked about this, dove into the darker aspects of Lagos much more than the book did, technically. I mean, like, the book talks about like the two sides, the Yorubans and the Igbo, but like you just ended up like hanging out with the Igbo so much more, and they're like
exactly
the terrible racist people.
There's one player to blame for that.
Yeah.
The naive Nox.
He did kind of get you onto this weird path with them. It's again like it's the interactions the book actually puts for the Igbo are either as opponents normally, or as like the younger boys that are like trying to get into the area boys. They're not technically as bad, So like they like also like will like, oh, hire me on to like guide you around the town, foreigner. I can get money off of you. It's just like the current generation isn't as bad necessarily right now. They might be corrupted by their adults later on, or become more jaded or something over time. But it is like something that's showing that like it's supposed to show, because like the boy that hangs out in front of the hotel that can help you out and stuff like that, they're not all bad. It's just that there is this group of them that are really terrible. But also that's the one you interacted with 95% of the time,
Yeah.
But
I mean,
so you finish up your saying.
I was about to say, there was a reason for it. It was, but yeah, probably could have done it less. I mean, Nox was just so buddy with them, whereas I was kind of trying to be all business with them, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that comes down to the last bit of pacing to talk about, though, which is combat pacing, which is, I think, the hardest challenge in a lot of ways. Because
this one's hard.
This
one you got to give a lot of leeway with.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
it's you and your
I did
players.
a terrible job with this in my first session,
yes.
GMing after a while.
Yeah.
It's something everyone just gets better at over time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a way you can fix it without being kind of mean.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can fix people taking so long their terms is to rush them, and then that feels rude, especially if it's a new player.
Yeah, you want to be careful of it, especially with new players. You just
because like in the Pathfinder I'm in, we still allot Jay a decent amount of time for his turn, because while he has played Pathfinder for about a year now, he's still very new, and there's still a lot of spells and a lot of spell choice that you can do in combat. So I feel like you got to give casters a lot of leeway on this one.
Mm-hmm. You have to give casters leeway, and new players and people new to the system leeway too.
Yes, very much.
I mean, I do think one of the best things you can do for this is to let players know they're up next. So it's like when there's a turn before them.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the best things you can do. If you do have a group of experienced players, you can talk to them and basically be like, hey, do we all want to agree to speed things up? Because you can basically just all agree like, hey, you'll have a minute. And if everyone agrees to that, then that's good. I think it's really hard, because it's like if some players get bored by it, and then other players don't mind, it's a whole thing. I mean, but yeah, like I have heard one of the rules, if you are going to do like a timer, you have like a minute to decide on something. You can take as long as you want to enact it, but you have a minute to decide. So you have to be thinking about it ahead of time.
I think it might also be good to like, sorry, I'll let you finish up.
Oh, and the idea, and usually for like 5e stuff or any other system that has this, like you take a defensive action, like, a dodge or a, whatever defensive action your system has.
I think
if you don't meet that time.
I think another thing that
caveat.
might be kind of good for systems and for gameplay is like, talk to players and be like, hey, after your turn, try to think of like a couple of different actions you might be able to do on your next turn. So you are like considering what your next action is in a lot of ways, but also like talk about like, because things happen in a turn, situations change. And so kind of like, get an idea of the next couple of actions you want to do, or like, maybe what your options are. So then you can respond with one quickly or something like that. You have to kind of talk to players that like, because I think usually players get one idea in their head and stick with it. And I think getting them to kind of think about like, a couple of different options, yes, they can get stuck up on something, but most players are going to be like, okay, I think this is the best option here, and I'm going to take that, But if you get them thinking on like, I could cast a spell or not cast a spell.
Something I've wanted to do, but is hard to remember, especially when you're, again, haven't jammed in a while. I meant to do things like, like have the guy, like say, oh, you see him readying his spell, like he's going to cast it at, Sheldrin, and it's like, so that way people can kind of give them more information. So that way they can like plan better.
So-
rather than having to go like, what is this person doing? What is that person doing?
I'm also going to give something, and I'm going to use this to complain partially about Joe's game. Don't surprise your players massively in the middle of combat with stuff.
Yeah.
I made plans to do something, and I ran into another enemy. And it's
Nice.
enemies
Oh, yeah,
that I
that.
could not fight. We were fighting golems.
Okay.
I am a
Hell yeah.
goddamn bard that is made to be a
Yeah.
spellcasting bard. I can do shit to
Yeah.
a golem.
They have immunity to like psychic damage and mind control stuff and charms and such.
They
and
are,
he's a bard.
yeah,
So-
they are perfectly built to destroy me. And we're fighting like
We-
4 of them.
We had this exact same problem in Hell's Rebels when we ran into golems because,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's not a lot of stuff mages can do to golems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so he was trying to get closer to like the one human in all of this who's controlling all the golems. But like he's like, okay, I'm gonna, because he didn't want to be in their line of sight because obviously they're a spell, they're a powerful spellcaster or whatever. So he ran into a building, and Joe was just like, there's a golem right next to you now, and it's all like, I didn't see or hear that, running into the
Somehow
building.
they kept
You're deaf.
popping up. Yeah, we could not notice them. And so the amount of times it just shut me down for like trying my own pacing of trying to like keep up the battle going was there. And the thing is, like, also, I'm not gonna lie, I did jack shit that battle. I did not get to that guy. And also, like, I'm normally have to be kind of half checked out. I already hate this fight. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's a very bad fight.
This is probably one of the worst fights we've had. Because
Nice.
I can't do shit to these golems.
Hell
And
yeah.
and it's like you just removed me from it, and like I have to deal with a guy that I have to already spend a large number of rounds overcoming his goddamn legendary resistances to affect him with stuff.
Well,
You know.
and then also, he started us on opposite sides of the map, and the other guy's just hanging back, and there's a lot of like buildings in the way, so you're having to like run around them. And on top of all of this, it's like you have these golems who are probably resistant to things, but it's like, yeah, like, I mean, I found, like, what's funny is I tried to use a spell that had like psychic, and that's how we found out. And then Tantus is just like, well, I guess I'm useless.
Yep.
How dare you
But
play
like,
a
even
bard?
so, oh, and then the worst part was, in my opinion, was his AOE attack,
Right.
where so in 5e, the rule is if you would have full cover from a spell effect, the spell does not affect you, correct? Like, you know about this rule?
I know about it. It's a rule we don't use in my group because
Okay.
we we're rarely in a circumstance where full cover is in play in a combat.
Well, here's the thing: we're in a crowded, like, we're in a city street, and he basically casts. So the guy, who, by the way, shouldn't be able to see that there's other people, positioned the spell perfectly. That way, it can go
Nice.
through the wall and hit the other party members.
He also like apparently can steal the souls of some of the civilians. He threw a bunch of civilians on there that
That's pretty cool.
yeah, he can get powers from them, and also the golems are throwing them
yeah.
as weapons at us, so the golems have ranged attacks.
Well, how big of an AOE was it? I guess is my question. Was it like
It was-
fireball sized or
It was black tentacles.
okay?
And so it was like I think that's a 20-foot radius.
It's 20 foot.
Yeah, and he basically wanted to cast it on the house with me, but then he positioned it slightly like 5 feet into the house, so that way like part of the house wasn't centered, so that way it hit the other people who are behind a wall because they're on the
Well,
outside of the house.
So AOE's that are like a big, like a fire. So AOE, like if it's a thing that I don't remember how black tentacles work.
Okay.
So,
So I looked
not-
it up. There is a line of you have to
There's-
have line of effect from the center of the spell,
yes.
which is blocked by anything that would provide full cover. And they're on
Yeah.
the other side of the wall. And I brought this up in combat. He's like, there's holes in the wall. It can go through. I'm
like if you could do that if you cast fireball on like the corner and it just kind of like sweeps around a little bit. That's fair
Yes.
game. But you can't fireball someone who's in a different room than the one you casted in.
yeah, no, like literally they were outside the house and he cast it inside
Lord.
the house.
Sheesh.
Uh-huh.
Sheesh. There's a
So,
reason I
and
left
he's-
that game.
Yeah. So it's just anyway. I thought that was like, and here's the thing: it didn't even bother me like that he attacked me with it and stuff. It's like I wasn't visible, but I did attack him and then jump into the house. So like I could see that he knew where I was. But then how did he position it sideways enough to hit the other people when he didn't even know they were there?
Here's the thing. He wants the combat to do something, and he also said this stuff has unique abilities that you think will be interesting. I'm like, I don't like any of this.
When you're a GM, and this is a different conversation, but I'm going to go on this tangent. When you're a GM and you're running a monster, you have to disconnect yourself from all metagaming.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to do if you're a new GM, which, from what I've heard of Joe, he doesn't have that much experience GMing from everything I've heard.
From what I've heard,
this is tradition for him. He gets connected. He gets connected to his NPCs and creatures and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't do that as a GM.
Oh, no. What is really funny is I think when we started this, it was totally fine, but like as he goes on, he's just gotten so much worse. Because I think he wants his story to like hit certain points, and it's a lot harder to make sure that... Oh no, okay, and this is since we're talking about pacing, I might as well talk about this part of Joe's game. I have no idea what the goal of our whole combat is.
So
we were told to like defend this place while they cast the ritual. I'm like, how long is the ritual gonna take? You don't know that. Okay.
Like they would have told you how long the ritual was gonna take.
It was also the thing of like we instantaneously got into a fight, so it's sort of like they were already there when we showed up. Like we had like 1 round to like buff or like cast stuff.
He gave us 3 rounds to buff.
You'd be too powerful prep time. You're like Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, okay, and now pick your spot. We picked here. Okay, here's what you see around you. There's things here. I'm like, what? You know,
and like, apparently that spot was just a bad spot. We arbitrarily chose a random spot. I didn't even choose because like I had to reload, I think, or something like that. You know, so people put their characters on the board and I was just there, and it's sort of like it was an awful spot to be in. It's like we didn't. It's the entire thing is so bad. I am so. Ooh.
Nah, so it's like I think our goal is just to kill everything, and that's when the ritual will be done.
I guess so.
I mean, that sounds like a sensible goal, I guess.
But I hate fighting golems, and I hate fighting this guy.
I don't think there's a version of D&D or Pathfinder where golems are fun to fight.
That's fair.
I think the only time is like if you're specifically preparing your players for it. Or something
well, you know what? Actually, I can say when they're fun to fight when you're a marshal. Then you just don't have to deal with any of their bullshit.
Yeah,
we don't have a marshal on our team.
I think that's also the problem.
The closest we have is a blade lock.
I think that is also the problem. He's sending something that requires like a martial type fighter, and we don't have it.
Well, he's not, and to clarify, he's not a pact of. He's a pact of the blade warlock, not a weapon patron warlock. So
well, look, we have a wizard, a bard, a druid, and a warlock.
Or you still running the 2014 classes?
He's still running 2014 stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. He should have let you swap over. Because then your warlock would be useful in melee combat. Because Pact of the Blade basically just became blade lock.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, but as far as combat goes, you just gonna it's hard to be.
Combat pacing is a challenge. It's a hard thing. That's one of those.
It's the one you're gonna deal with the most, and it's the one that there's no concrete answer to fix them.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point we should probably just move on to our weekend gaming.
Yes,
yeah, probably.
So yeah, Joe's
kind of already did.
It was bad. It was bad.
It wasn't horrible. But it is. I just feel like the setup was so forced. The information is so lacking.
I understand. I had one of my worst times in this one because I looked at my character and said to myself, "What the fuck do I do?"
Yeah, I've
like
been there.
None of my crazy shit that I've been given by Joe works on golems. Like, I literally had nothing. My joke of I took as buying a magic item, I now have 18 strength, so I could actually melee something. Cool. I can do a D8 plus 4 with a sword now. Oh, wait, it resists that. Oh, no. And I have no AC.
We don't have adamantine weapons.
Yeah, I don't have AC. Like, what the fuck does he want from me? I as soon as I heard golems, I'm like, what was 1? I was like, okay, this kind of sucks. Okay. 2, okay, I'm feeling a lot bad. Now it's like 4 of them, and I'm like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah, and there are a bunch of pedestrians making it so we can't really use just AoE spells.
Yep.
And the pedestrians aren't even running; they're just cowering, allowing these things to walk up and grab them.
Yeah. Oh, they're just frightened and think that it can't be seen. I'm like, it's 5 goddamn feet from you. It's gonna see you. Run the goddamn fucking way.
I guess my question is, what is it? Just your character's conscience stopping you from AoEing, or like?
Generally speaking, yeah, I think it's sort of like I think for the character arc my character has been on, because I did in game and in character break down at one point in time. The other players in game talked me down from being the guy that would nuke everybody. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty close to that. I was pretty close to that, and probably would have at that point in time. But they walked me back from the edge. Maybe I'm back at the edge of just killing everybody now.
I mean, at this point, yeah.
There really is just a point when Joe's gonna play the NPCs as active hindrances. It's like, why should we care about this? Like, we need to stop sorry, but 1 life in terms of, a whole multiverse is,
I should just nuke the area, because it would kill all the NPCs that he would basically devour the souls of to empower himself.
No, and that's the thing, especially since we just found out that the big bad, not the golem, but the guy that we finally got close enough to him to see what he was doing, and he was like devouring them and then growing stronger. And Joe basically said, yeah, it seems like, so basically he gets like an increase to his ability score every time he like devours someone. I'm like, oh,
that's not a fun mechanic. He said it was a fun mechanic. That's an awful mechanic.
Especially when the NPCs aren't moving. When I told them to leave, they said, "This is our hiding spot. We're not leaving."
Yeah, I tried telling them to leave too.
Whoa, fireball upon you.
Yeah.
You're leaving. Either you're leaving with your feet, or you're leaving this mortal plane.
It is just frustrating to an extreme degree, and
so it's just kind of like
ride.
There's a guy walking around eating people's souls, and all you can do is sit there and let him do it.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
That's a bad mechanic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like now that we've gotten close enough to see this, I'm like, yeah, 100% I'm buying fireballing civilians.
Did it cap out eventually? Was it just gonna go forever?
I don't know. No idea.
Like, did he think that far ahead?
Probably not. No, Joe.
No, he thought it was a cool idea.
And he's had like 3 rounds of doing this before he even saw what it was.
Yep.
No, like I could see he gets a temporary bonus from eating 1 guy's soul, but it can't stack. I could see, he gets temp HP every time he eats a person.
Eats a person, depending on their hit dice, gains a number of levels of spells he can cast, and maybe that's the way he casts spells. Yeah. That's where he can unleash. That's where he can unleash. He used prismatic spray on me, which I, just took some damage. Or he used like the tentacles, stuff like that, where he's like, channeling that a little bit to do these things, and that might be an interesting idea, because he's got to like, get certain get these people here to do that. Okay, I can kind of see that to a degree. But like stat boosts are very big on a system where the tiny numbers mean a lot. That's the problem. Yeah.
So I have no idea like how this is gonna go. We'll see.
Poorly.
I just really dislike the setup. the fact that we're limited by sightlines, but they're basically not. The fact that, you know, like, I mean, that's the thing. The reason Tantus ran into a golem is because it was behind a wall. But when we're behind a wall, he can AoE us.
And the thing is, it was behind a wall, and it's a large golem that smashed through a wall to be behind that wall.
I feel like it's
I don't notice these things.
DM versus player going on.
I think it is,
It's never the
and Joe
situation
doesn't
you want
think
to
it
be in.
is the problem. Joe doesn't realize he's doing it. He's not doing it on purpose. He's doing it kind of.
No, he's
you know.
not. What he's doing is he's the omnipotent GM who can see everything, and he's playing the bad guys.
Mhm.
Meaning, the bad guys can see everything. He doesn't think, what would this person be able to do, or what would this person know? He just goes, this would be the optimal place for this guy to place the spell.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing. Like, he actively, when he did the tentacles, he actively moved the area away from one of the people the guy could see, one of the bystanders, to hit the two players, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, and that's why I'm like, I brought up the whole full cover thing is like, oh no, there's holes in the wall. They're kind of crumbling. It's like, that's still not the whole issue.
Anyway, that was Joe's thing.
Yep.
We'll be finishing it, maybe, some point.
We soon, hopefully. I'm
Mhm.
definitely not doing a Joe game for a while.
That's, I think, a fair opinion.
It's the thing. It's like, after this battle is done, I'm going to have to say to Joe, it's like, hey, I wasn't really a fan of that fight. It was not fun, you know.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to say it very nicely like that. It's like, hey, this was a fun fight, you know. Sorry.
Your constructive feedback.
To be fair, the fight that broke me was the Shemeshka fight. That was the only one that broke me. This is bad, but it's not breaking me.
It's that one. That one was just like he keeps hitting me with these things that, like, it's the thing of like, a lot of times, because I have some very powerful abilities, but they're very save or suck, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm very focused on one enemy. And we've fought plenty of multiple enemies, you know? But he always feels like he's doing stuff to specifically shut a lot of what I can do down. And I feel like that's why it feels like, you know, targeted. Maybe it's not intentionally, but it feels that way sometimes.
To be fair, he does that a lot to me too. Me and you have the most powerful spells, meaning me and you are the ones who always get the legendary resistances used up on us. So, like, in the Shemeshka one was particularly bad because literally Shemeshka used every single reaction to counterspell me.
Yeah.
No one else. Well, that's because you were confused the whole time. So you didn't even have like the ability to cast a spell. So I was the one who was getting counterspelled every single time, and she had a special counterspell which did damage when she counterspelled you.
Yep.
And since she had an intelligence, like her basically her intelligence or her save, or her check to counterspell, because you have to do the check if it's higher than you. Even when I cast a high level spell, you know, she had a +9, meaning she basically had to roll like, no, I think she had a +11. So it's like she had to roll like, you know, for the highest level spell I could cast at the time was 7th, so a 17. She had to, like, if I cast a highest level spell, she had to roll a 7, you know, or a 6 or lower.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to finally try to do something, because I'm just going to target that guy with every goddamn high-level spell I have. I don't care if it screws us.
Buildings.
Because the thing is, we don't know what else we might have to fight. We probably don't have anything.
No, there's probably at least, I assume there's at least one other golem that we haven't seen yet out of the 4 we've seen.
A 5th one. Yay.
It's directly behind you specifically, Tantus.
I had 2 next to me.
Yep.
I'm just gonna end the spell I was concentrating on and fly up and just be like
your
up in the air.
character simply has the spatial awareness of a guard in Hyrule Castle.
We didn't have Monday.
Little child with clinking armor runs right behind you. You don't notice.
Yeah. Because I guess they were down speed.
Lightning had to do some more mechanics crafting.
Yep. Did you have Tuesday?
We had Tuesday. We finished off. The temple's done. We're finally free.
Woo!
It's been 8 sessions of a terrible dungeon,
Woo!
which is no one's fault but Paizo's. We fought some stuff on the roof that I don't remember what it was called exactly, but they were outsiders that were evil. So Paladin, Gilbert. It was kind of a nothing fight. At this point, Brazili's dead, so that's always, at this point, nothing in this dungeon is left to really challenge us. We had to disable the diabolic bells on top of the belfry, which is the continuation of Paizo doing shit that pisses me off. All right, you've done the dungeon. Now here's this incredibly specific list of things you need to do in a short amount of time to actually win. Paizo loves doing this, so
yeah,
it was. You need to cast a hollow spell upon the belfry. Easy. We have a cleric NPC who can do that. You have to kill all the guards at the belfry. Already dead. Simple enough. You then had to you had to roll a perform percussion check to play a specific song upon each bell.
Okay.
Then you had to complete a trial for each bell, but those trials all had to be completed within 2 rounds of each other. So you had 2 rounds to do all of this, and if you fail, more devils spawn and you have to fight them. You have to start all over.
So who had performed percussion?
No one. We just rolled really luckily, and I want to strangle the person who wrote this book.
Jeez. Are you done book 5 then finally?
Book 5 is done.
Okay. Then
We're finally done with book 5. Are you joining?
I might join book 6, yeah.
Then you can message Cell now
and
tell him that.
I'll message after here. I'll be like, if you're at book 6, I might join for the final book to help out, you know.
So Brazili's dead as Modian's been kicked out of the city. We've looted the temple. Do you want to guess how much gold we've seized from this temple?
200,000 gold pieces.
500,000 gold.
That's a lot.
We have the wealth of a country in our bag of holding.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's the one thing about D&D and Pathfinder's money scaling.
Yeah.
It's always kind of bothered me, and I always wanted to take some time to fix it, but I never have.
I actually think TUI fixed it by just moving to a silver-based economy.
TUI's okay.
It does help.
Yeah.
Because it makes it so peasants can actually afford stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely like.
I mean, in the pirate game, we did consistently make the joke of everyone who owns a ship has a +1 chain shirt. Because every ship captain has that on their stat block.
They really did.
So by the end of the adventure, we had like hundreds of +1 chain shirts.
It's definitely, there's definitely certain things that like I try to avoid that, but it's the first level commoner with 200 gold pieces,
right?
Because
like,
that's the NPC rules.
200 gold of shit somehow.
It's
easy way to do that is it's his land.
Yeah,
his house.
They think that's what we ended up doing, but there was that joke that I remember had in our old games, like with people like with Joe and Blaze and stuff for a long time, because that's, as rules is written, what they should have as first level NPCs, and I'm like,
it's old writing.
Money's weird.
The best I can say. Money and the economy of tabletop RPGs doesn't make sense.
Nope.
No. I mean, you literally can only ever sell things back for half the price you buy them at, and they always cost the same price no matter where you are.
Kind of why
it's not very realistic.
In my new setting, I'm just removing money and putting like salvage points, or like making instead of hard currency, it's a point-based system.
Okay, you guys haven't run into this in my game, in my world, but magic items aren't really like very like I feel like the best things people can make currently are like uncommon. You know, but most of the other stuff you have to find or it's stuff from the
So
past because
I'm basing mine off of Rogue Trader's profit factor, where it's once you do a dungeon, your profit factor goes up by 1. When you have that, you can spend those points to get items. Is basically how I'm doing it, because I fucking hate money. How money is done in D&D.
Mm.
It can just be assumed you have enough money to sleep somewhere.
It was so weird because Joe gave us a bunch of money to spend before his game.
There's nothing to spend it on.
It's sort of like even the amount of money we had, it was hard to get actually decent upgrades using the better money spending that you had given us. You know, it's like this like weird of like we're very high level, and I feel like I couldn't buy a lot of stuff.
5e doesn't want you to buy things. 5e wants you to
No.
loot stuff.
Joe gave us shit
Correct.
loot so many times. A
That,
fucking
yeah,
No,
duck
his
oven.
loot's terrible.
that's Joe's problem.
Yeah, I mean, to
I'm
be
bad at
fair,
it, but like I feel like Joe was.
you're-
I literally
the
just
problem with Joe is he gave us stuff, but it was always like 90% of it was like joke items. It's
loot
like
generators
why?
exist. Use them.
Yeah.
That's I mean he was using them like joke loot generators.
Yeah, no, use the one that's on like 5e tools that gives you actual D&D items that are good. Or
No,
at least
and that's kind of
useful.
the thing where it's like the wand of some webs. It's a wand that casts the web
Wow,
spell,
that's the
but it
funny
has
gag at like level
but it
3.
has something written on it when you cast it. We got that at level 6, I think.
That's a fun gag at like level 2.
Or like the weird duck oven where you know it turns anything like organic into a roast duck. Where we had to have like a discussion on the like there was actually like a philosophical discussion on the stupid oven because we're like, well,
Right.
couldn't we turn
So,
people or corpses into
that
ducks?
that oven should not exist because that breaks so many fundamental rules of survival in D&D. It's actually a really overpowered item that should exist.
I mean, to be fair, we were stranded on a boat. We were stranded on like we got a folding boat and we were stranded on that in the plane of water for like a week, and we survived by fishing and putting it in the duck oven.
But like it was the entire thing of like it's also something that like you honestly could be the worst murderer ever and hide your bodies with the duck oven. You know?
Yeah.
You could Sweeney Todd and turn your victim into a goddamn bunch of roast ducks and sell it to people. I'm like, this item is kind of evil. It really is.
Like you have a way to hide it sounds like you have a way to hide all those NPCs you're about to explode in that next combat.
This is delicious, succulent duck.
He literally told us it could turn rotten food into duck, so that's another thing too.
Really, that would be rotten duck at that point.
That was apparently fresh duck.
No, it'll turn it into fresh duck.
That's not how that's supposed to work.
No. The duck oven is one of the most powerful artifacts we have. I don't know.
Like literally, it's like we could literally start a business and make millions.
It really is this like I think it's just like the disconnect of like I don't want to deal with the fact that we have this like super powerful artifact. Oh, the robe of tongues! The robe of tongues where Blaze tasted a black hole.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with like I'm like, you know, and then like I'm like, hey, ever consider giving us like a +2 attack wand? And he's all like, I don't know, that seems kind of powerful, you know.
He will stay as powerful as a level 5 character, and you'll like it.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, finally, he just gave us a whole bunch of gold and said buy stuff, and it's like, yay! And I bought stuff.
It was okay, but like things are not cheap, especially like the actual good thing. It's sort of like as a meme, I got the thing where I get the 18 strength. I didn't need that, but there wasn't anything better to buy. I was like, there's some stuff here.
We were using the realistic item prices thing you showed us, Momo, so at least we have that.
It helps a little bit, at least. It's very out of date, unfortunately, but it gives you a decent idea.
It works for 2014 because it's 2014, so...
Taking a
But-
step back though, this comes into mind of something that I was thinking about, because I'm going to say, like, I was thinking, like, I wanted to do something for, well, we'll speak of Wednesday now, I guess we can move on to that. Like, did we talk about, no, we did talk about Tuesday.
Yeah.
There are some things I want to do for the game, and I don't know what's a good idea. Here's what I was thinking about. Stuff that you do, maybe like train or gain like bonuses from NPCs that might be circumstantial bonuses or something like that. Would that be something we could explore?
Oh,
Things like that.
So the easiest way I could tell you to do that is camp NPCs.
Okay.
It's still Baldur's Gate. Have a little caravan of people follow us around.
But I was thinking, because like sand points your camp, like the people you develop bonuses with might give you like small like +1 bonuses in certain circumstances.
Yeah, that's fine.
Would that be something interesting to explore? Because like it is a
Yeah,
very NPC heavy town.
That's actually a very good thing to do in NPC heavy stuff, because
Yeah.
Hell's
Yeah,
Replica does that a lot.
It rewards people. It rewards people for. It rewards people for interacting with the
Yeah.
town.
So I've been
Um,
thinking about something like that, and like there's some other things that I'm thinking of like exploring, but that was the big one I was thinking about, because I want to do something that like isn't super overpowered but might have some interesting ideas, and that's so maybe we'll talk about that. But we did have Wednesday. It was the first of the Shaz Lastalon series, a Song of Teeth and Wrath. I think it went pretty well as a session 0.5
I
into
think
1.
it was good.
Mhm.
I've never seen a man crash out harder at strength rolls.
Joke, not roll a strength roll. I mean, strength character. I don't know how that. Like,
Yeah.
the thing is, he like I was.
I rolled better on strength.
Yeah, he rolled very well against like someone that was randomly pretty well, and also rolled very well. And I'm like, yeah, you impressed that guy. He put up a great fight against him. He's like, no, I still lost. And I'm like, it's like fine. You had like this epic fight that everybody was impressed by. It's like, but no, that's not enough. He had to have defeated it.
Like I missed every shot except for one. But I can recognize I'm a 0 BAB character holding a bow. I'm not gonna do much.
And I'm not gonna lie, goblins don't do a lot, but they're hard to hit.
Yes, they have a lot of. They're one of the
Yeah,
harder enemies to fight them. They have a lot
Like
of
when I kind of
difficulty.
saw that they were doing like 2 damage, I'm like, okay, I can run up and hit these guys. This
Yeah.
isn't too bad.
The big
I was
problem
more
is
worried that we'd fight.
they got
yeah,
what, like
we-
16 AC,
16, yeah,
17 maybe.
16. I think
Yeah, I
16 is
was-
the
I was
base
worried-
ones. The bard was 17.
Yeah, that's
That's
not what I mapped up in my head.
I was worried we'd fight something that did like a D6 of damage, and
Oh.
I was not gonna survive one of those.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, some of the APs definitely are just like, here's a meat grinder level
Yeah.
1. Hope you've made 6
No,
characters.
And here's the thing: is the goblins also are overconfident as a slow and serious killer. None of them really are like caring as much about you. Even the ones that came up to attack you were like, "We're gonna hit you with torches first," which are
Yeah, like
not good
the
weapons.
Goblin's biggest strength is there's a lot of them.
Yeah. They're not smart and not very good at tactics. Even the bard was like, I will sing and do some stuff. Haha!
I think it's a sick crit though, so that made me happy.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, I've just embraced that until like level 4, I'm not gonna be very useful.
Mm.
In like shooty combat. I obviously have my spells, but I didn't want to use my spells in the first combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason I was throwing, it's like, oh gosh, I need +1 BAB to just, like, honestly,
Yes.
level 2, I can at least
Level
throw
2
things.
Level 2 is pretty big for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
because I'll get +1 BAB and I can draw 2 weapons and throw
Mhm.
them in the same turn, meaning I can move and attack, meaning I can get within range.
This is a lot that happens as you like gain those first couple of levels.
It's just the pains of being level 1 is kind of extreme in Pathfinder.
yeah.
Yeah, and then that's gonna drop off again pretty fast, but oh well.
Yeah. We'll get a decent boost at level 2. I'll get an okay boost at level 3 when I get my second level spells, which are the good druid spells.
And
Man.
at the point where so level 3 is when my damage comes into
Mhm.
play, is when my damage reaches a point, and then level 4 is when my like utility reaches a point, because that's when I get the ability to give penalties to AC
Mhm.
and or attack. So it's like they'll either be less likely to hit if it's someone who can hit real hard or hits real good, or I can make them easier to hit if it's someone with like a really high AC. And that's kind of the whole point of, that's at level 4. Level 3 is just when I can add attack or my dex to damage.
Some of the party will become real people at level 4.
Yeah.
Cell and I, however, won't.
No, you need a
At
couple more
level
levels.
2, I'll be
before
able to
we-
throw weapons.
My bird will
Not
at
that I
least
plan to do that a
actually
lot
get
more.
18 strength at level 4, so
Then you can burn things.
the bird will be a little more useful.
Yeah. It's a development thing, and I think again things went well.
Level 1 is the least fun level of Pathfinder.
I think I enjoy all the characters, and you feel like you kind of work together in an interesting way pretty well. I think that was the other thing
We're
too.
a decent team, like team top wise, and we have a homeless man to make fun of again. So
he just he's another
I don't know a lot about Jesse, but I'm sensing a lot from the characters this guy makes. Every one of them I've seen is a homeless person. A homeless guy who punches people.
His gunslinger wasn't a homeless guy who punches people. He was a near-do-well who shoots people.
What is a gun if not shooting someone with, or if not punching someone with tiny pieces of metal?
We joked that it's just Nox got isekai. He really might be. Yeah. she just really might be. I was just thinking about. He kind of really is the same character.
If I truck to Joe's van ran Nox over, sent him here. It'd be worse than death.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it overall went pretty good. Again, we'll see how things go.
I forgot to talk about the new Sunday game I'm in. Whoops.
Ooh, yeah, you have a new Sunday game. I think you.
Yeah, it's an Eberron game. I'm playing a wizard. I'm playing a Tabaxi wizard, which technically aren't in Eberron, but it's being allowed because who cares?
A classic.
It's kind of like if you can show up, or it's like kind of West Marches in the sense of if you show up, we'll play, so you can drop in, drop out for sessions pretty easily.
Okay.
Which is nice, but we got hired by a monster hunting company to go hunt some monsters in a town that is 3 weeks away. And we killed a bunch of bandits and took their boat, so the 3-week trip was much shorter. So we are in possession of a boat now, I guess.
Okay. Yay, boat.
The party, there's shockingly only one joke character in the party. Well, 2 kind of based on a name, but the character doesn't feel very jokey. Just the name's a bad joke.
Okay.
The bad game joke character is Gnome Thaniel. They're a gnome.
All right. That certainly is.
The other one is just your bog standard Mimi Goblin character. That's not too disruptive, but is very clearly played up as a joke.
So a bit of classics in the sense.
A little bit of a classic goblin in there.
Yeah.
And then I think there's 2 humans and a half elf is the rest of the party.
Okay.
So pretty typical guys. But I am interested to see where this goes because I've never played an Eberron.
Cool. All right. I guess I'll turn it over to Worm, who traditionally has something on Saturdays.
I do. I sat and played Slay the Spire while Laftel explored the enemy base on his own while invisible.
Right. At least Slay the Spire is fun.
I mean, we learned a lot, and I did play a little bit at the end when he came back and we all asked some questions and stuff. But yeah, it was literally the GM put him on a map and no one else, so he could explore, and we just kind of sat there.
Definitely been there. Famously, for the majority of Children of Wrath, I did just play Final Fantasy XIV.
So yeah, it was fine, but yeah, I was able to listen and pay attention. It was just I couldn't do anything. I made a lot of good jokes because at one point he walked up to someone and was all like, "What are these two guards talking about?" And the GM was all like, "Look, they're talking about something. It's not important, like enemy one loves enemy two, and then or something." And I'm like, and
They're
I'm
picking up
like,
floppy style.
and then I made a joke in the Twitch chat of like, "Oh no, wait, enemy one and enemy two. These must be very important. We should focus on these two characters to the exclusion of all else."
Really.
Exactly.
And then later, when they found one of their own, or when he found one of their own trapped in a cell, I was all like, or trapped in a cage, or like arrested. I was like, "Oh no, it's enemy one's lover."
Some good classics there.
So I was having fun with it, but yeah, most of the time I just didn't do anything.
That happens, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It
It
does.
is what it is.
Yep.
I mean, during the van incident, I did just play Zenless Zone Zero, so I'm not much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that's our weeks then.
I was literally thinking about making a joke about well, time to ship these two or something.
mm-hmm.
I ended up going with a little bit more of a meta focus on them.
I guess that's a good place to leave things off there then. Oh, excellent.
Mhm.
So, cool. I guess I hope everybody has had a great week. Thank you all for those of you who joined us. I'll be back next week. Hopefully these folks can join me in cars then. Thank you to the two of you for joining me. I guess I'll throw it over to the two of you for shout outs and stuff. So unless you have anything, Momo, I'll turn it over to Worm, of course.
Shout out to Acceptable Losses for a really good Dead Space episode last week.
That was very nice. Dead Space stuff was very nice. It's very interesting to learn about why, like, that they did have, like, that they did end the thing where, like, yes, it's just an end. We have an
Yeah,
end.
the ending kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What is a technical end? Not a great one, but it was interesting. Anyway, yeah, so Worm, turn over to you.
Yes, I am DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Next stream will be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT about. So I often do it closer to 10:15, but whatever.
Cool. As for myself, Tanks and Average Go, I hope you've enjoyed joining me today. I'll be back on Tuesday. So expect a kind of update on the schedule kind of coming up. Of course, join us for more Shadows of Aslan. That's going to be next Wednesday. And of course, join us for Discussing Tabletop next week. So, yeah. And you can always check out down below on wherever you're at for links, other ways to support, and all that kind of things, So, And if you're over on YouTube, you can check out other episodes, because plenty of them, at very least, I would recommend checking out our deeper discussion topics, even if you don't want to dive into the news. So, Anyway. All right, everybody. Have a great one. And until the next time, I'm going to say to you goodbye, farewell.
Bye.